One thing that I remember very distinctly was the day that I recorded the vocals for that record. My grandmother came to visit me in the studio, and it was so funny because like that's the, you know, she could have came any other day, like when we were recording Digital Bath or Change or some like beautiful, like more pretty song. But she showed up at the studio that day when I was recording that song. And I just remember her like in the control room when I was in the room just screaming my head out. And her just thinking like, man, my grandson's crazy.
It is that time of the week again, Saito. Welcome back to the Sensei Says, a podcast delivering you inspirational conversations weekly from which we dig out some advice to improve our lives. I am Sensei Pascal, back inside my podcast dojo in Saint-Julie, Quebec, Canada. And this is another vintage episode. And one of my favorite interviews all time with one of my favorite bands of all time, Deftones. And if you look at the picture I took with the band after the interview on my IG or Twitter at Sensei Says Pod, you can see from the smile on my face, I'm feeling like a little groupie. I was so glad, much too happy to meet with these guys. I met with Chino Moreno, the lead singer, and Sergio Vega, the new bassist. And I'm saying new bassist because at the time of the interview, unfortunately, the original bassist, Chi Cheng, got into a car accident. Maybe a year or two before the interview. At the time of the accident, Chi did not wear his seat belt, and that explained why he got into a long, really long coma for years. Actually, he unfortunately passed away a few years ago. I think it was back in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a charity actually going on at this time. Buckle up for Chi.com to raise awareness about wearing your seatbelt 100% of the time when you're in your car. And with the holidays and winter coming, we want to keep you with us for a long time. So stay safe out there, will ya? Focusing forward though on this interview, like I said, one of the best to my knowledge, and I'm sure you're going to like it. So here's me and Deftones, and we're having a good time.
First thing I've got to ask, how's Chi? Chi is, he's still, after 2 years, still pretty much fighting to you know, get back. He's making progress, but it's you know, it's very slow, and I don't know. I think we're just kind of, you know, all hoping for the best. I think, you know, he wants to make it through it, so I think we're just staying positive about it and hoping that, you know, he'll come around. But you know, we just have to be patient because it's going to take time, I think. Yeah.
Has this hardship influenced the band or the inner workings of the band, or?
Well, it's affected us in a lot of ways, man. I mean, you know, I spent a lot of my life, you know, next to that dude. You know what I mean? So if something like this happens to one of your best friends, it affects you in a lot of ways. But, you know, one of the ways, I guess, definitely is, you know, with you know, what we do here in music and each other. I mean, it definitely brought us closer together. I think, you know, anytime something like this happens, it makes you reevaluate your life, I think, in general, and how short it can be and how precious, I guess, you know, everything is. And so as a band, yeah, I think it brought us close together and you know, maybe got us to focus a little bit harder than we have in the past. And yeah, well, I mean, you know, we had to go in and kind of rebuild, you know, our whole foundation, and that's kind of what we did from that point on.
And what about you, Sergio, coming in the band inside that turmoil? In that situation, any more difficulty to adapt to the situation?
I think it was the context. It was just the fact that something horrible had happened to somebody who I know, somebody that I've known for some time, and, you know, who I admire, and to a band of people that, you know, I've known since 1995, and, you know, I had a chance to kick it with, and, you know, I filled in for Chi before 99, and, you know, I just really think these are fantastic people, and it's just that's it. And just coming in for me was just more like my concern was just trying to be like a positive component and just trying to help out in whatever capacity possible. And I wasn't, you know, not so much concerned about anything outside, in the outside realm. I think that, you know, I would figure that would take care of itself, but just putting my best foot forward within, you know, the world of the band, and just being present as possible.
You just said making something positive out of it. Did you maybe exploit this situation in a creative way, and does that show into Diamond Eyes?
You know, that's what we had to do. I think when you know, when this happened, we had two choices. We could either cease being a band, or if we were going to be a band again, we had to rebuild our infrastructure. And the way to do that was to start completely over again. And when Sergio came in, we just started writing from that moment. And yeah, I mean, we did get into a creative flow. I think when a lot of these things are going on, it was very easy for us to just lose ourselves in the music, and that's kind of what we did. And when we brought our heads up, a month and a half, 2 months later, we had a record's worth of material that we wrote probably faster than than we have, in the last 7-8 years. So that was a great thing for us, and I think we learned something from that. I know when we're going to make a record from here on out, that we plan on capturing that that energy and just going in and not overthinking things and spending so many months and years making records and just being together, enjoying our time together, and creating and capturing that time, and that's what we did in that 2 months, and that was the funnest. Aside from everything we were going through, it was the most pleasant record making process because we were able to just to adapt that work ethic.
When I did my 2010 year in review in music, I gave Diamond Eyes a top spot with Rammstein, their latest. When I listened to Diamond Eyes, I got hope that I lost for the new rock, new metal scene, because all the bands that I used to listen to in the early 90s, they've gone either soft, flat, or just disappointing. How did you with Deftones stay relevant and evolve within your own Deftones style?
Well, I think we've always been doing that. I mean, even in the mid 90s or late 90s when supposedly new metal was even at its peak or being born or whatever it was. I mean, I felt like we were already steering our ship away from that. When all these big new metal records that were selling millions of records came out, we put out a record called White Pony, which is a very left turn from I think where we started from with Adrenaline. I mean, I feel like we did it with Around the Fur as well, but with every record, I think we always try to not fall into a character, fall into a formula, just be like, this is who we are, and let's just make another record for the sake of making a record. I think we always try to step out of our comfort zone and try to be creative, do something that we know that we are all nodding our heads to and we all like. And it seems like if we do that, then, we're always challenging ourselves, we're having fun, and we're being creative. And I don't think we can lose, And the only way I think we're going to lose is if we get complacent and we start following, just like trends or formulas or whatever. And we've never felt that way before. That's why I think I'm 37 years old and I'm still able to be doing this. Otherwise, I would have definitely been bored by now. I get bored too easy with things in life. That if it was just just going through the motions of it, and it was just us trying to keep up with what was going on around us, I wouldn't be interested in it.
So compared with Saturday Night Wrist,
compared to it,
yeah, maybe the approach. Like to me, doing a record is like, let's do this creatively for that album, and then we're going to evolve on that. Mm-hmm. So on the next album, you say we're going to do something else. Mm-hmm. So what was the method or maybe the goal on that?
I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't necessarily apply to all people. That's a way that a person may approach life, but sometimes it's as simple as, wow, I got some cool new gear, can't wait to use it, and I'm here with my friends and we've just been bumping these sick albums for the past couple of years, and I can't wait to just like play some music with this new gear and my homies and allow all these influences to just kind of like flush through you and just make something that just feels good.
I don't think we ever go into making a record with the preconceived thoughts of what it should be, what it's going to sound like, what I'm going to sing about, what it's supposed to represent, like none of that. I think we go in, just like you said, with the idea that we're just going to play some music with our friends, and we're not going to stop until these songs that we're making are like
so
we're all just
sitting
like
there like this because you got your vibe and everyone's just like this, and it's just like, and it's not so much based on like, oh well, this thing is right now charting right now, so we should really be doing this kind of music or whatever, and let's really try to approximate this for this end. It's the end is us being excited in that room, just like there, and then it's like, that's cool, we commit, and I think that goes back to your other question about staying relevant and saying things. It's just that the excitement and the sincerity is there, and it's just never been lost. It's like this band from before I came in, and looking at the records, it's always about things that this thing is excited about. It's like the band, people are excited about the music they're making and playing and putting out there. You know, and that's what makes it true.
I've met a lot of bands through the years, and I think that you've just confirmed a trend. People that grow into the music business as musicians, you just stay little boys. You get to 37, like you said, but you speak like you're still playing in your mom's garage and you're just doing it for the fun.
Of course. I mean, I think if we're not having fun, then what the fuck am I doing out here? You know what I mean? I'm not getting rich out here. You know what I mean? There's a lot better ways to make a lot more money doing other things in life, whether it be, you know, anything. Yeah. I mean, really, music. Like, I wouldn't advise any kid to like start a band to like do anything else other than just have fun.
Seriously, even at the level of Deftones?
What do you mean? No, I mean, we make a living, but it's not crazy. It's not like you know, I don't have boats and fucking, you know, motorcycles and shit. You know what I mean? I have a normal fucking life, you know, and I have to work hard. I have to be out here on tour, 9 months out of the year, pretty much. I mean, you know, pretty much, you know, in order to do this. And I like that. It's not, you know, there's a lot worse jobs. I'm not complaining about it at all. But the main reason why I'm doing it is because it's fun. You know what I mean? And because, you know, and it's what I do, you know what I mean? But that has to be their main reason. That's why I would tell any kid who's starting a band, like, please do it because you like doing it and because you're enjoying yourselves. And, you know, don't do it for any other reason because, you know, it's not worth it.
Yeah, like the energy to return, you know what I mean? Like you can, you know, it's like you put a lot of energy, you work and you make a great thing and it's a fantastic thing, but it's not like starting, you know, Facebook or something. You know what I mean? You start Facebook, you know what I mean?
I got the same thought when I saw the social network. And I wish I had that idea.
You start Facebook and then you want sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Forget the rock and roll, sex, drugs, and Facebook. It's like whatever.
Pretty good also.
Now that you've become veteran on the music scene, do you still go back to your earlier influences, like say Mike Patton, or are you like grown into an artist that you've grown your own, let's say, creative garden? If that's maybe you'll do shit.
I mean, even Mike Patton, like I wouldn't say that he was the influence of mine, other than I like the fact that he has a lot of different influences and he uses them the way that he uses them. So actually, that makes him a very great singer because he's out of the box. He doesn't sing, you know, he can do anything, you know what I mean? He does pretty much in one song. He'll do fucking 7 different, you know, characters almost in a way. And I think that's awesome. But that's kind of the way I feel like, you know, I'm influenced the same way. I have a lot of different influences that span from things to people like Sade, you know what I mean, who are just straight moody, you know, singers that use their voice to soothe and to, you know, and just melodically. And I also enjoy HR from the Bad Brains, who just rhythmically just genius, and you know, and a lot from that to whatever. I mean, I like all kinds of different types of vocalists. So, but for me, I never really look at, okay, or one person, or, you know, I could never do that. Say this person is what influenced me to sing. It's just more or less. I think it's a melting pot of everything that I grew up listening to, whether it be Michael Jackson from when I was 8 years old, or, you know, the Thompson Twins, or, you know, Boy George, or whoever. I mean, I listened to a lot of shit growing up that helped shape, you know, my sense of melody and music, and
that still helps you today.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and then there's new artists and things that I listen to too that maybe aren't even vocalists, that are just like you said, we'll put on records and it's just beats, and we'll just listen and bug out to these beats and just be like, wow, you know what I mean? And it'll just excite you so much to like, I can't wait to make a new record because we just need to make some shit that the beats are just infectious like this, you know what I mean?
That's really what it is, yeah.
And, so, you know, there's influences that come from many things, from movies, from, you know, not even music sometimes, from like something visual, you know, you get excited about it and go, wow, that makes me want to make a fucking riff, or create, or, you know, write something on, you know, on the guitar, or vocal melody or something. And I don't know. That's the fun part about life, about being influenced and influencing other people, and you know, just being sort of like, you know, a disease.
Yeah, you're like part of this zoo. Yeah, everyone's just an ingredient, just getting hyped up, and then it's like that when you get to travel with another band and how they do it, and then it starts to fuck with how you do things because you just rubs off and everyone just gets hyped. You know, like we're traveling with Dillinger, and, you know, I was talking to those guys and we were getting excited about the things that contrast in each other. You know, they're like, oh man, your things are so open in your tones, and I'm like, damn, your fucking technique, you know. And it's just like everything just keeps you wanting to run back to your outlet, which is music.
My favorite song, Deftones all time, is elite. And I have been a professional wrestler in the past, and that was my entry song. Could you discuss, because it was just raw, you know, there's no intro, it's straight to the punch, it's straight anarchy, and that would push me to do flips off the top rope and things across chairs and tables and so on and so forth. Could you discuss the production? Because I'm a huge fan of Transformers, so when I heard the song, I was like, that one is mine.
Yeah, it's
how did this
Megatron?
Yeah.
Or Starscream, or who's the one that
Soundwave.
Soundwave a little bit, yeah. It's definitely got it's got the old school vocoder on it that we use, but we ran it through my vocals through Stefan's guitar, because in order to use a vocoder, which is the effect that gives you that robot kind of sound, you need to signal it with something, and it needs to have a signal that's running through it. So the signal we gave was Stefan's guitar, and when I sang over that, it gave it like this, just punishing, like, you know, vocal effect, and it was really fun. It was just us experimenting in the studios with Terry Day. And yeah, I mean, it was just like, it was funny. The one thing that I remember very distinctly was the day that I recorded the vocals for that record. My grandmother came to visit me in the studio, and it was so funny because, like, that's the, you know, she could have came any other day, like when we were recording Digital Bath or Change or some like beautiful, like more pretty song. But she showed up at the studio that day when I was recording that song. And I just remember her, like, in the control room when I was in the room, just screaming my head out, and her just thinking, like, man, my grandson's crazy. But yeah, I mean, that was you know, it was a fun thing, and we actually ended up winning a Grammy Award for that song, you know, which is kind of cool, because, you know, that song is so not like pop, like you said. There's no intro. It's like there's no format to that, like, it'll make it like a, you know, anything other than just what it is, just like a raw, you know, energy song that there's a lot of energy in it, and a lot of just, like, you know, it kind of, you know, makes you unbridled energy, I guess, what makes you kind of, you know, lose it sometimes, like you said, with the wrestling, with things. It's just kind of a, you know, the song has that in it, and it's fun to make. Yeah, it's good to capture.
Such awesome moments with Chino and Sergio from Deftones. They say never meet the people that you idolize, but in that case, I mean, I can still remember being at the backstage area at the Metropolis in Montreal, because Deftones were playing at that venue the night of the interview. I was standing like maybe 4 feet away from Chino, holding my mic, and I was like half listening to his answers, because in my head I had a voice going in a loop like, man, you're talking with Chino. Man, you're talking with Chino. This is so awesome. I'm meeting with Chino. It was really a good moment for me, and I hope that you got that feeling as well, listening or watching this interview. And here's what I've learned listening and rewatching this interview again, in terms of how to optimize your creative flow. Number one, do not overthink things. What I've learned from Deftones is that when we are considering a creative project, we oftentimes limit ourselves to a few bullet points that we really want to hit. I'll take an example that is coming up to my mind as I'm talking to you. Kevin Smith was one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. He's one of the reasons why I studied cinema in the first place back at Concordia University here in Montreal. And if you watch Clerks, his first movie, you can feel the innocence, the naivete, the sincerity of his creation in the movie. It's him talking about his life with no limits whatsoever. And then when you watch the other movies, it's Kevin Smith, it's my impression, my humble impression, it's Kevin Smith trying to do Kevin Smith movies. And you sort of feel that. And the only other movie that he did produce and direct and write, through which I got the same feeling as watching Clerks, was actually Red State. And Red State was his first horror movie, which in my opinion was awesome. And watching the movie, I felt a genuine creative approach. Something that was pure, something that started from a blank page. I think it's better to go quote unquote nuts in your creation and then maybe take out a few elements than to do it the reverse way. Limit yourself creatively and then just put out a still product. Number two, avoid formulas at all costs. Do not repeat yourself. Step out of your comfort zone as a creative person. I'm gonna take the example of the rock music / nu metal industry that I still enjoy nowadays, but I really was a fan of back in the days at the nu metal era, maybe early 90s, because a lot of the bands, like I said in the interview actually with Deftones, a lot of the bands that I really enjoyed back then kind of fell into that trap. Time to repeat themselves, try to put out one album like, say, Korn. Korn is a prime example. For me, it is. Because I think that after the Issues album, everything went down to hell. I'm still a fan, but I haven't enjoyed their new material as much as I did in the past. To me, they're trying to repeat a formula. Again, that's very personal. Maybe you're a huge fan of Korn, and for you, the experience is way different. It's just the same formula. Maybe it's the same beat, but it's them trying to sound like them. They forgot how to evolve. They forgot what it was like to just create music from the heart. That might be cliche, but to me, it still carries meaning. So for us, what we have to take away from this is that we should always challenge ourselves. And number 3, the most important one, keep it fun. It has to be fun. If it's not, why am I sitting here? Why are you listening or watching me? Why are you doing what you are doing? It has to be fun. There's a part of the process that has to be and stay enjoyable. And that's on maybe an emotional side. But if we take it to a scientific point of view, that's actually really relevant. Because if you are enjoying yourself, if you are enjoying the process, you are producing the right hormones for happiness. And I'm gonna make like a quick expose on the neuroscience behind creation, because I could go on for minutes and hours, and you do not want that. But maybe you do, but not now. All the processes that you've got in your mind and your brain that are useful to create something, and something that could be good, that would put forth all of the best in yourself, not just as emotions, but all your qualities, your competence, everything that you can do, you need that state of mind. So again, keep it fun, and I'm sure that you're going to be as creative as ever. Now your turn as a creator, as someone who maybe just enjoys art and creations. What are your tips, pieces of advice on how to get your creative flow going? Please leave it in the comments or leave me a note on my IG or Twitter at Sensei Says Pod. Thank you for taking the time. I always enjoy discussing with you guys. Now, if you want to get more inspiration, subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts, sign up to my free weekly newsletter, and if you're a fellow rockhead just like me, you're really going to enjoy this interview number 17 with Stained. On that note, Saito, thank you for watching or listening. You are dismissed.